Why are all these young, otherwise healthy people dying from cancer at ungodly rates?
My daughter, my son was 7 at the time. I'm like, shit, I'm never gonna see them grow up.
A 49-year-old shouldn't get prostate cancer.
Why isn't the government doing what they're supposed to be doing?
America is at war.
I wasn't a studious academic person. My only choice was really to enlist in the military, and so I did. I enlisted as an E1 and worked my way up. I broke my back my second year in service. They said to me, your career's over in the military. Like, go get another job. And I was devastated. The first time I realized I had an actual family was with the military. And so for me to lose that was pretty difficult. I went to the VA, and the provider said to me, and at the time I didn't understand what he meant, but he said to me, just because you're out of uniform does not mean you're done serving. I met my husband in 2014. We were sitting in his pickup truck, and it was in the winter, and I remember it very well. I remember exactly where we were. And he was telling me about his military service. I served in Iraq for 15 months during 07-08. And he said to me, Chelsea, a lot of my friends are dead. And I said, well, you know, I don't want to sound insensitive, but it's war. It happens. And he said, no, they didn't die in combat. And I was like, oh, was it suicide? And he said, no, they died from cancer. There's no research on it. There's no stories. Why are all these young, otherwise healthy people dying from cancer at ungodly rates? And so he told me about one man whose name was Sergeant Major Robert Bowman. His call sign was HunterSeven.
Explain to us a little bit more about the burn pits. How close were they to the service members?
For Rob, his burn pit was less than a half a mile from where they slept at night, their sleeping quarters. They were all in different places. Some were small, some were big.
And burning constantly?
Burning constantly.
We reached out to Rob's wife and I said, this is who I am. I want to honor your husband. I'm not sure how, but I want to honor your husband. And so we conducted the first study. It was a pilot study based on Iraq war veterans, and we looked at their symptomology pre, during, and post-deployment to figure out the root cause and exposures. And it published shortly after internationally, and it was the first step in creating HunterSeven solely to conduct research. And then once we realized there was a gap in education, when I went to civilian practice in the ER, I figured, okay, well, we can't just do the research, we have to educate as well. And then once we started really reaching out and talking to people, we couldn't believe the abundance of post-9/11 veterans diagnosed with cancer. So it became an immediate needs and medical support organization as well.
I went into the military in 2003, joined the infantry. I joined the military because the towers went down, like a lot of my friends.
I can hear you!
I was fully out, full-fledged civilian again in mid-2009. Started a career, got married, had a couple kids. One day I was doing I had an exercise band, and I actually audibly heard a crack in my back. And I was like, oh, it's not good. I get an MRI later that week. We're pretty sure you have multiple myeloma. Never heard that word before in my life. Had no idea what it was. He's like, it is cancer. I wasn't the youngest patient that they ever had, but close to it. It's a very uncommon cancer I was 38 at the time. My daughter, at the time, she was 5. My son was 7 at the time. I'm like, shit, I'm never gonna see them grow up.
The amount of toxic exposure that the GWOT veteran has experienced, I mean, you can go back into the Vietnam days with Agent Orange. It's a real problem.
Are they more at risk than the average population?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely more at risk, just for the locations where they've been. And I think a lot of people are scared too, because they don't want to find out if they have anything, you know? And we need to break that. 2019, my PSA blood work came back positive, which was in a 6-month change. So I went to the urologist and had a biopsy done, and basically told me 10 out of the 15 samples they took had cancer. Early detection will save your life.
70% of post 9/11 veterans don't utilize the VA. They go to civilian care centers. And so for civilian nurses, only 4% are adequate and capable to provide veteran-centric care. So we have the most trusted profession that is only 4% to provide that care specifically tailored to veterans. That's terrifying. If we don't educate our providers on how to care for these veterans and their risk factors based on the research and the literature, how are they supposed to care for them? Out of the 426 post 9/11 veterans this year in 2023 that we were able to support, either financially, with cancer, without cancer, 218 were at risk for cancer. And of those, 67 came back positive for early stage cancers. That's 67 people that we were able to positively impact.
And depending on the cancer, the survivability of you catching it that early is
Over 90%.
I was made aware of HunterSeven Foundation through actually quite a few friends that were diagnosed with cancer. And the HunterSeven Foundation showed up in real support for them through multiple different measures. But that's kind of how the HunterSeven Foundation got on our map. And Evan started working with them directly. And I was fortunate enough to meet the organization and see the absolute amazing work that they're doing.
We have massive support networks, but also within other spouses and survivors, whether their significant other is currently undergoing cancer. Same thing for the kids. We make sure that we work our best to group those together. We had a veteran come through with stage 4 cancer. He wasn't being treated in a timely manner, and it was really weighing on his, physical health, his mental health. And we said, okay, well, if you can't get an appointment within the VA system for another 6 months, but you have stage 4 cancer, we will get you up to Dana-Farber Cancer Center in Boston tomorrow.
Myeloma is a chronic disease. It's not a, if it comes back, it's a when. You have to take charge of your own health. If it doesn't feel right, get it checked.
So I don't know how bad it would have gotten if it would have spread. It could have spread to anywhere. So that's why I try to educate everybody that I speak to about HunterSeven and what they do.
Recently we partnered with the UFC, and through that, our first thing that we did with them was bringing awareness to HunterSeven Foundation on the UFC mat. And the UFC was so generous and kind to allow us to do that on Veterans Day and raise a significant amount of funds for the HunterSeven Foundation. Man, I'm just so excited to have that opportunity, and I think it's a start of a long, long relationship, not only with the UFC, but with the HunterSeven Foundation, because I truly, from my soul, believe in what they're doing.
This one right here, she wrote to me and she said, "From everything I've learned from my husband's cancer journey and reviewing his medical records, evidence of his issue went undetected for years. He passed away from leukemia. My hope is that through this donation," she donated $10,000, "my hope is through this donation and my husband's legacy of being the light, a few families can be spared the fate that my 4 children and I currently face. Early detection is so very critical, especially for so many cancers that have been dormant for years. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for the important work and research you are doing." So,
Oh, thank you. Your mama, you're gonna go with mama and you're gonna see all the monster trucks today.
Oh my goodness. So we have 4 grave
That
diggers.
sounds like an awesome idea, but you gotta make sure you're on good behavior and go give your mama a hug because she got the tickets for you.
I know what you are. You're a great dad.
Thank you.
You're a great mom.
we're the ones that are paying for these funerals for a 33-year-old Army combat medic who died from a preventable brain cancer. We're the ones that hug the family, the parents of a young Marine, veteran who died from a preventable cancer death, And that's why at the end of the day, we're not here for the popular opinion. We're not here to make friends. I'm here to save lives.